Welcome to another episode of the Online Prosperity Experience podcast. You're about to hear your host, Prosper Taravinga's powerful digital marketing strategies and actionable tactics that you can use right now. Prosper has helped more than 50,000 people from over 10 countries to create meaningful businesses that are profitable and enjoyable. Listen to this podcast so that you too can build your own business with less stress and overwhelm. Let's get started.
Why newbie coaches and consultants should DIY their marketing. Okay. I will have you know that I'm recording this podcast in a bunker that is 6 miles off the coast of the continent of Australia, just because I know this is a big opinion that I've just put out there, and it's not going to be taken lightly by a lot of people that are touting that everybody should start outsourcing anything to do with their marketing out there. And I'm here and I stand firm and say any new coach, consultant, or small to medium business that's getting started right now should actually take a year to learn their business, to learn what it is that they are marketing, to identify the target market, to clarify their message, and then determine what media they're actually comfortable in before they actually outsource any of this marketing to an agency. So many times people show up on our doorstep and be like, yeah, help us. We want to reach a wider audience. I think we're ready. And, we start asking them a few questions. Who is your target market? What is your message? What is the actual offer that you're putting out there? And they just start saying, oh, we've got a budget, make use of it. No. Whatever money you have, whatever budget you have, you can't buy attention. All right? People need to know you. People need to like you. People need to trust you. And you actually need to have a visceral understanding of what's involved in the marketing game. Not to just show up and think, oh, it's taken 3 weeks for you to create a website. I could have gotten it done in India or things of that nature. You're just making a fool of yourself, bro. So like I said, I have a big opinion. That's not always a popular one. And this is what I believe. I firmly believe new coaches, consultants, and small to medium business owners out there should try to DIY their marketing at least throughout the first year. And when we start talking to our clients, we predominantly help them to make sense of the internet. And that's why I call people that listen to this podcast internet explorers. I help coaches and consultants with their content marketing, with their digital marketing, with their email marketing, with their social media marketing. And here at Live Long Digital, you'll find resources that you actually need in order for you to tell your story, communicate your value, and put together marketing strategies that convert clients. And I practice what it is that I teach, and it's taken me time, money, and effort to put together all these resources in order for you to jump on and consume what works for you and what doesn't. And if it doesn't sit well with you and you are just somebody who's looking for instant gratification, then I'm not your guy. And that's the reason why I'm coming up with this podcast live and direct and telling you, if you haven't hit the 3rd year mark, if you haven't started earning above $200,000, try not to outsource any of the marketing, because you're not learning anything. All you're just doing is spraying and praying with your marketing, and eventually you're not even going to convert that many people than you could, especially when it comes to offering your services. The reason why I actually speak on this topic is because I just got off the call with a very esteemed colleague, so to speak, or digital marketer, so to speak, who has rose within the ranks and is trying to grow their business, and was just complaining about how the people that she's been attracting are those people that were told in the last couple of years during the pandemic that they were non-essential, who are now looking to start their own business, and they're trying to take whatever branding that they might have had in their past role into their newly found business. Okay, so at the end of the day, people don't know your work yet. People don't trust you yet. You gotta put skin in the game and actually work in order for you to convert those leads. And I was just telling her that, hey, listen, I only work with people that have already started earning about $200,000 consistently, and they want to take it to $2 million. And, that's an easy play for us to play in, because these people already understand they need to spend money to earn money. And that's why I'm coming to you and saying, obviously, I'm not in a bunker on the outside of Australia. No, I was just saying that because what I'm saying is an opinion that's not a very popular one. But I'm stating the opinion again. I firmly believe that if you're a new coach, new consultant, or new business owner, you should actually try to DIY your marketing at least for the first year. And I already hear you saying, oh my God, go with get on with it already, or stop wasting time and things of that nature. You see, I told you it wasn't a popular opinion. And the reason why, I'm saying that is a lot of people have already gotten into the zone of just outsourcing stuff, that they don't understand, and looking for people like myself to just point a finger at if the things don't work. And there seems to be an overwhelming amount of maybe gurus out there in the guru casinos like Facebook that insist that new business owners should actually start outsourcing things that aren't maybe client facing, or outsourcing your sales process as soon as possible. You know why? Because that then takes you away from doing the things that you don't like while you're concentrating on actually running your business. Wrong. That's a wrong way to go about it. And as an outsourced marketing provider myself, I totally get it. I mean, it's easy money, it's cheap money, but you don't want to be working with people that don't quite understand who their target market is, that haven't clarified their message, that don't even know the best media that they can show up in a way that actually makes it easy for both of you to actually get results. And I actually see the benefit why anybody would want to outsource their marketing and any number of tasks within your business, because as an entrepreneur, just marketing is just one aspect of running a successful business. You go from hiring and managing new staff, you're balancing books, driving growth, and a whole lot more. And it all seems like a constant balancing act where you're pulled in multiple different directions all at once. And at the end of the day, your real goal is just to help your clients. You just want to spend as much time as possible changing people's lives and solving people's problems. And you don't want to waste hours each week trying to navigate the whole complex world of online marketing. And you certainly don't want to waste countless, days sending emails, or, wasting money on ads that are not even converting. And I get it. I see the benefit of you outsourcing your marketing, because it's yet another thing that you don't have to do. And I'm the first person to actually grab the megaphone or this microphone and be like, hey, if you're overwhelmed and you're burned out as a business owner, you can start figuring out tasks that you need to outsource. Live Long Digital will be able to help you. And if you start hiring professionals to handle those services right away. That's how I yell at people when they're walking in the street, to tell them to start outsourcing their marketing to us. That's how I market, by the way. Funny not. That being said, all right, I think there's a huge benefit if you're a newbie coach or consultant to seriously, roll up your sleeves and get your hands dirty and actually start DIYing your own marketing. And let's talk about just 3 reasons, not too many, just 3 reasons. I know we're already 10 minutes into the podcast and you're like, wait a minute, when Am I going to get actual stuff happening? Well, let me tell you something. I've worked so much on myself, on my business, that I can just literally go on the podcast and start talking, and we create something that would last, or that will be evergreen. And that, my friend, is because I've done the hours, I've earned the stripes, and that's why I can show up and do 10 minutes of no content, but there's lessons in everything that I've done so far. But let's get down to it. Let's talk about the 3 reasons why I think newbie coaches and consultants should DIY their marketing and how it could actually positively impact your business. Wouldn't that be nice? You see, I know and I understand growing your business is tough. You go from cold calling potential clients, you having them hang up in your face, and you're sending hundreds of emails without getting as much as, hey, thank you for reaching out. Or you're wasting thousands of dollars on ad spend without generating any qualified leads. And sometimes it actually feels like no one wants to buy what it is that you're selling. And when you rely on your business to maybe pay rent, put food on the table, and pay those staff members that you're outsourcing to, it can put an enormous strain on your emotions, and you're actually terrified. Maybe you have to give up on your dreams and return to that safe 9-to-5 job with your tail tucked between your legs, and you can't even bring in new clients. Let me tell you something. If you're clear on who your ideal target market is, who you are wanting to speak to, who you can get results for, who has the right pain, who needs the right payoff that you've got going on, and you're crystal clear on who your ideal client is, I bet you can spend as much money trying to get that client, knowing that they're going to convert, just predicated on you having that understanding of who that person is, And this is one of my favorite reason, my Internet Explorer, why I tell coaches and consultants to DIY their marketing, especially in year 1 of actually launching their agency or their consultancy or maybe their speaking career. Because although most businesses, or some other business owners, myself included, I kid you not, feel like it's a good idea, or to outsource your work. If you don't have a clear idea of who you are attracting, it makes it difficult for whoever you're outsourcing to, to actually get you any results, And sometimes when we start our business, yes, we might have, that whole avatar built out. And if you don't know how to build out your avatar, check out, the previous episode. I think it's episode number 21, where we were talking about avatars. And we actually think that we've got our ideal, client down packed. And the truth is that we all stand to be actually much more specific when we can develop our client avatar. And when you DIY your marketing, you are pushed to think about who your actual audience is, all right? Right now, I wouldn't be doing this podcast if I didn't realize the person who's going to be listening to this podcast. I know viscerally well that you've tried everything and it hasn't worked. You probably don't have a system that you're following. You probably are working far too hard in order for you to get, the little that you're doing, or you're a coach or consultant or business owner of a service-based business, or you've already established your business and you probably have at least about 100,000 in annual revenue, and you possess a clear understanding of the actual value you provide to your clients. And I'm hoping you're learning something from what we're doing right now. All right? You have an innate understanding of who your client's age is, the gender, the relationship, the status, the geographic location, career, the job titles, whatever descriptions that they might have, the hobbies, the pain points, their fears, their values, their lifestyle choices, all of those things, because you can't speak to a person who is not going to respond to your marketing. You can't speak to a person who doesn't understand your own language. Ipapa antu toshamsika kuti kochicha akuitika ipapa patorine zvinhu zviri kutaurwa here ipapa. If I was speaking to you in my own language, would you understand any of the marketing that I'm putting out there? So now are you wondering how your client avatar and honing in on who your ideal client is can actually positively impact your marketing? Because that would determine the media that you're going to be reaching out to these people on. Are you going to be using voice? Are you going to be using video? Are you going to be writing emails? Are you going to be maybe just putting out webinars out there? Because if you know exactly who your ideal audience is, you will know exactly what they're doing at what particular moment, and then you will put content that resonates with them at that particular time. So in your content, you probably think about the type, what type of tone will resonate with this ideal client of yours. You actually look at the pain points that they're actually experiencing and how you can frame your service offering in a way that gives them the solution that they need. What payoff would they absolutely appreciate based on, the knowledge that you have about them? And when you're setting up a social media strategy, you want to think about your ideal clients and where they hang out online and how you can reach them and what sort of posts will actually resonate with them. And when you're building an email marketing strategy, you want to put together maybe a lead magnet funnel, which those people would utilize and would be more than happy to exchange that PDF or that checklist with their email address. And you would know what type of communication your ideal client wants to receive and what sort of giveaway is actually going to add value to their lives. You can't just be spraying and praying with your marketing, because people only resonate and respond to marketing that speaks directly to them. And how are you going to be able to do that consistently and sustainably if you haven't taken the time to actually learn who these people are and what it means to them to have somebody like you in their lives? So when you start marketing to your ideal client, it's actually beneficial for your business growth, because you can walk into a room and you can pinpoint you, let's go, and you can start working with them. But it's not just for your business growth only. It's also beneficial for your own personal growth as a business owner, because if you're showing up and actually getting results for people, doing work that matters for people who care, guess what that does to your own self-esteem, bruh? Guess what that does to your own self-esteem, sis? So if you start outsourcing your marketing, you miss out on learning all of this part. It's like when you're a kid and, your parents maybe, when you're a baby and your parents maybe start putting you in braces before you are ready to start walking, just so that you don't have to go through the pain of crawling. You have to crawl first. That's how your bones get strong, and then your brain starts to notice that, yes, I need to balance myself in order not to fall. So if you just jump onto outsourcing your marketing, the person who's doing your marketing will have all that intel, that insight that you don't have information to. And when you show up at the meetings, maybe you're the person that's closing the deals. That's why there's a disconnect. That's why the people don't quite resonate with the work that you're putting out there, because your marketing is saying one thing, and when you show up, you're a different person to what they expected. So if you start to outsource your marketing on the onset of your business, you might pass off the client avatar creation process, to the person that's doing your marketing, and then you literally don't know who you're reaching out to out there. And they might do an outstanding job. I mean, obviously, they're getting paid for it, right? But by going through this process yourself, you actually improve in other areas of your business beyond the actual marketing, because you're honing in on your sales skills and your ability to actually identify and communicate with this ideal client. And ultimately, you literally grow your business as a result. You know why? Because as soon as you go onto a meeting, you already know that this person already knows you, likes you, and trusts you. It's not a matter of you trying to tell them or convince them that you're the right kind of person with the right kind of payoff that they're looking off. They just want to confirm that, yes, this is the right thing that I need to do. And if you don't know your client avatar, how are you going to engage them? How are you going to educate them or maybe provide them with value? Because we actually do get paid in direct proportion to the value that we bring to the marketplace. We don't get paid for just opening up a business. We get paid in actually solving people's problems and people speaking, in reference to them having gotten results to the work that we're putting out there. And how are you going to know if you outsource? How are you going to know what you're actually comfortable with? You know what? When I started my business, I was doing a lot of social media, and I was good at it. I was showing up every single day in the news feeds. I was doing Facebook Lives and all that stuff. But all of that stuff was just, like Tetris. Every every perfect line was disappearing. So I just noticed that I'm creating all this content, but none of it is actually sticking. And that's not the kind of person that I am. I love creating evergreen content. I love having a body of work that people can actually go and consume at any given moment, at any given time, and it's still relevant. I don't like reacting to, what's happening in the market and trying to stay relevant and stay funny or whatever it is. I just want to do work that matters to engage the people that I'm going to be demanding money off of. And I figured that out. And it took me 3 years to realize that I'm not a tweeter. I'm not a Facebook sharer. I'm not an Instagram person. And if you actually go and look for me on these profiles, I don't exist. My company does. I mean, obviously, because there's other people out there that still want to see some sort of lifeblood, throughout a business in terms of, joining the mainstream, social media platforms. But my main thing is connecting with people via email, connecting with people via platforms like this podcast, and creating videos that people can actually use as a repository and they can, come back to at any given moment. That's how I love showing up. That's how I find my own self-wealth. How are you now going to figure out what marketing strategies you feel comfortable with or uncomfortable with? I've realized I can't write. So I'm not going to bother myself trying to blog all the time and make a mess of it. What do? I just speak into the podcast like this. My team extrapolates this, transcribes it into a blog, and that's why you see blog posts on our on our website. So there's so many different marketing strategies that are available to you. And as a new coach, consultant, or small to medium business, you have free license to try any and all of them. And how cool is that? But let me tell you something. You can't climb the ladder of success with your hands full. You definitely are not going to be really good at YouTube, at podcasting, at social media, and be everywhere and be consistent and actually make a coherent, story that people would like to follow. So as you start with your, business, or when you start marketing your business, you've got the flexibility to try out all these different strategies and see what actually fits you and your ideal client and the audience that you want to reach out to, and how you can actually have your own unique marketing comfort zone. The fact that I can show up and do a podcast every single day, this is a marketing competitive advantage. Not a lot of people can do this, okay? Not a lot of people have very little ego to say, you know what, I'm just going to put out a podcast, whether I'm umming and ahhing or whatever it is, but you can piece together what I'm trying to say in between, the ums and the ahs. And I think by now, if you're listening at 21 minutes, you've already forgiven my, filler words. You're just waiting for the real impact and information to come through. And I'm fine with that. I'm happy that you're out here, doing something, learning more about your business and figuring out, new strategies that might come through in between my filler words. Perfectionism is overrated. So I figured out, look at this, the way I'm happy to actually see that I've done, put value out there is when I show up on a podcast like this. So you need to find out what is your actual unique marketing comfort zone. For example, you may love blog writing or content creation, but you feel like maybe posting 3 times on Twitter doesn't match your authentic self. I used to do that. And I told myself I was going to post on social media, even if it kills me. I almost died. Because the whole concept is just sucking content, and you're not building anything on there. And that's not my authentic self. My authentic self wants to leave a legacy. And I'm happy when I see piles and piles and piles of content that I can reference and that I can point to somebody else and say, hey, look what I created. That's who I am. And I believe if you're in my target audience, that's who you want to become. Maybe you leave for putting together quick, informal videos about maybe coaching, consulting, or whatever it is that you're doing, but you write blogs or ebooks that actually make people, want to engage with what you're doing. Find your own marketing sweet spot. And how are you going to do that if you're outsourcing everything? To me, marketing is a world of coulds and not shoulds. There's not one right way of you tackling your marketing, but I'm just saying I've learned from being in the trenches long enough that there's certain things that you can do consistently, and once you find those things, stay in your lane. And how are you going to find it if you are actually outsourcing everything at any given moment? So you can create content, you can share it, you can connect with your target audience in a billion different ways. And you can you have to find out what strategy feels right for you. And when you DIY your marketing at the beginning of the business, you are able to actually develop that unique strategy that represents your brand, that captures your unique voice and leaves you authentic in the process. And you come across as being more authentic because your marketing is you're doing it in ways that you love. I laugh. I'm talking about bunkers and all that funny stuff. You know why? Because I've gotten comfortable with my audience. I've gotten comfortable with the microphone. And I know I'm disseminating value, in the process. That's what I've discovered, but it's taken me time to discover that you can't outsource, doing this whole connecting with your audience aspect. This type of authenticity connects and converts clients. And speaking of authenticity, you learn how to actually market your business authentically. When you find your voice, you embrace your value. As a new business owner or as a new coach, it's really, really challenging for you to get your stride. Because you do know what makes it even harder? When you outsource your marketing before you actually pursue the DIY option. I'm shooting myself in the foot right now because, you could have been thinking, wait a minute, I need to do my marketing, with this agency, and yet the guy is telling me to DIY their marketing. That's authenticity. That's me having full confidence in you, taking this information and actually using it. And then when you're ready, you know exactly what you need to come to us for. All right? If you're pushed to find your authentic voice and to communicate with your authentic, with your audience in an authentic way through your marketing, you are actually able to own your own value. Right now, what I'm doing is being authentic. I'm not saying come to us, outsource your work to us so that we can, do whatever we may with it. No, I'm actually telling you what works. You're able to talk about value that you provide more easily when you're authentic. And prospects will actually call you, because it's become a breeze, and your close rate would actually increase because you know who you are and you know the value that you're providing. So if you DIY your marketing in the first, years or so, it actually helps you to step into your brand, to learn to market yourself and your services in a way that actually feels right to you. And you might even find out, what you're much more passionate when you talk about what it is that you do and do it more often, and people can see and feel the energy exuding from the microphone into their white earphones. Heck, you might even find more enjoyment in your day-to-day. Look at me. I have fun every single day in this podcast, bro. I have fun in this podcast, sis. Why? Because you're so focused on building an authentic business from the ground up in everything that you do, marketing and otherwise. And it ties back into who you are and what it is that you're actually doing, instead of spraying and praying with your marketing and ending up not even doing anything that matters out there. So like I said, just because you're a new advisor who's maybe trying to get your feet out the ground and you're DIYing your marketing, it doesn't mean that you don't need help. I'm not saying that, okay? No way. Even if you're DIYing your marketing, you don't have to walk on this journey alone. There's mentors, there's books, there's people that can walk with you along the way, but you also have to roll up your sleeves and put skin in the game. Because if you work with a digital marketing consultant like myself, we already expect you to show up ready. You know what I mean? And if you don't show up ready and you're half-baked, it just makes a difficult conversation for both of us. Because working with a coach or consultant can be maybe a perfect solution, because those coaches and marketing consultants, they offer you insight and push you to create marketing strategies that actually you can then stick with in the long run. And you get the benefits of actually learning on the ground what actually works for you, what works you keep, what's not working you ditch. And as a new business owner, you really now get the vein of how much you need to expand yourself in order and have a clear understanding of what actually goes on in the whole marketing process. And it makes you now, realistic on the expectations that you have on other people and, the expertise that you actually need to create a strategy that converts and helps you achieve your goals cheaper, better, faster. Well, if you want to know more about marketing coaching, we've got marketing coaching program that you might look at, so that you can DIY with your marketing. And at the end of the day, we're here, like I said, to really help you build strategies for coaches and consultants so you can master your marketing. Because I firmly believe that you are literally changing the world one life at a time. So if I can do my part to help you do and have a business that's profitable and enjoyable, why not? So together, me and my clients and my team, we actually help you implement unique content marketing, unique social media, and unique digital marketing strategies that actually convert and you can connect with your audiences. All right? How are you going to know how you connect more with other people if you haven't DIY'd with your marketing, in the first place? I viscerally want you to start generating hundreds of qualified high-ticket leads like clockwork. But that doesn't happen if you haven't actually learned what is working for you and what you can actually do more of. Like this podcast here. It's been 30 minutes if you've been listening, to me. And I know I've already created something that would last for a long time and something that we can literally use later on in the future to create diverse and recurring revenue streams that would definitely skyrocket and ensure my business remains 100% bulletproof. I mean, we've been through market downturns. We've been through global pandemics. We've been through lockdowns. If I've got content that is out there connecting with and relating to the audience that I'm going to be demanding money off of later on, guess what's going to happen? I will still have something that communicates my value and puts together a marketing strategy that actually converts every person that listens to this podcast into a customer that pays, stays, and refers. Wouldn't you want that for your business? Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, let's continue the conversation in the Live Long Digital community. Become a Live Long Digital community member today. This community is for ambitious entrepreneurs and small business owners with the drive to take control of the future of their businesses and achieve huge success without stress and overwhelm. As you heard, Prosper can help you by teaching you marketing strategies that work. So look no further than the Live Long Digital community of entrepreneurs and highly successful business owners. Join our community today. Find us on www.community.livelongdigital.com.au. Network with other driven entrepreneurs and find the expert guidance you need to take your business to the next level. www.community.livelongdigital.com.au